throughout this period of your life, you're going to experience so much growth. And honestly, I just want to have a conversation about it. So let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Talks with Ken with your wonderful host, me, Ken. If you're new to the show, welcome. I'm so happy that you've decided to join us. I'm so happy you're here. You can take a seat right next to me and let's enjoy the journey together. If you're coming back to the show, if you're already a listener and this is another episode for you, you've made this part of your routine and everything. Thank you for sitting right next to me. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so happy to talk with you all today. The Talks with Ken podcast is a podcast that wants to help you continue to navigate your life, whether that's like all the ups and the downs, and it's like the career stuff, and it's also just like the personal life stuff. And no matter what it is, if you just want to have like a conversation, sometimes I might just sit down with a friend and we might just have a funny little chit chat. I want to be that little funny little chit chat that you listen to, because I love me a little talk conversation, a little solo pod. I love me a little conversation pod. I just love me podcasts that have genuine desires to talk, right? I hate podcasts that just feel like repeated. Like, what do you have to offer me? Like, I'm listening to you and you're telling me like, you know what a man should do, what a girl should do. Like, I don't want to be all that. You're not going to get none of that here. You're not going to get that here. Okay. That was like old me, new me. I ain't with all that. All right. So I'm just happy that you're here sitting with me, talking, and we're enjoying life together. And like, I want us to all elevate and share funny stories and connect with one another. That being said, today's episode is about growth. Oh my gosh, I am in a massive season of change in my life right now, and it is so insane. In less than 10 days, I'm starting a new job. Woo! My first ever full-time job post college. Oh, I am so excited. In less than 10 days. And then in less than 2 weeks, I will have my first apartment. Oh, I'm so excited about that too. I have lived in a dorm in college. I've been in RA, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I've never lived in an apartment, and an apartment living is so much different than dorm living, because in a dorm you pay probably once or twice a year for like the first semester, or the first half and the second half of the year or whatever. That's how it was for me. And in an apartment, you're paying rent, and you're paying for utilities, and you're paying for groceries and everything in there, and you're also like buying a bed. I think buying a bed is one of the biggest things where I'm kind of like, yo, I had no idea that I would have to buy a bed one day. Like, in the grand scheme of life and how large it is, buying a bed just feels so minuscule of a thing, but it is a really important symbol of growth. I think buying a bed for your an apartment, you sit there and you reflect of, dang, I've always had a bed provided for me in life, right? Or maybe not. I won't say everyone, but like for me, it's, I grew up, I was put in a crib. I moved from a crib. My mom bought me a bed. I lived in the bed. Then went to school. I went to live in the bed all the way till college. Now I go to college. There's a bed in the room in the dorm room. Boom. And then after that, now I'm coming back home. Now, look at me. I'm in the bed now. I'm like, I'm in bed again. But then now I'm getting my own apartment. I gotta buy my own bed. I gotta buy my own furniture. What do you mean? That stuff just always existed around me. And I think it's really fascinating to reflect and think about how different life is from where it used to be. And so I thought, what better conversation to have with you all today than to have a conversation about growth and the things that I've noticed throughout my period of growing, and what you will probably notice throughout your period of growing too. But I think before we start that conversation, I think it's so important to talk about what growth means, right? I think growth can be viewed in a bunch of different ways. And some people view growth as, this really big thing that has a finish line. But it doesn't really have a finish line. There is no finish line to growing. We're going to continue to grow. Physically, we continue to age. Our bodies continue to grow, whether we like it or not. Mentally, we can either choose to grow or we can choose to stay stagnant. Our mental is one of the few things that we can control in the sense of, do we want it to grow or not? Because everything else passes with time. Your brain, physically, your brain going to contort and age, but how you continue to act is either going to be, you're either going to continue to grow or you're going to continue to stay the same. right? And I think that perfectly leads us into point number one, which is that growth isn't always linear. There is no finish line to growing. There is no one path of growing. It's going to go up and down and back and front, and you're going to be pushed forward and then you're going to be pulled back. And it's in those moments that you get pulled back that you're going to learn the most, I believe. I think I've learned a lot, learned the most in my life through the setbacks. The setbacks are what kind of taught me why I got set back, why this thing happened to me. Like sometimes the setbacks are caused by my own doing, sometimes the setbacks are caused externally, but when they happen, it's important for you to sit down, take a moment and listen and reflect and be like, dang, this is why I'm here. Interesting. And sometimes they repeat, and when they repeat, I honestly think, like, I hope you don't have repeating cycles, but like if the cycle repeats, if you are stuck with the growth mindset, I think it's really good because once you get into that repeated cycle, you can sit and reflect back on that last one and be like, well, how did I get out of this before? Right? And you use that thing to pull you out of the trough and push you up to a peak, or even if you don't get out of the peak and you get back onto the flat line, hey, you got out from the bottom and now you're in the middle again and you can work your way back up. I think growth not being linear is one of the most important lessons to take away from life overall. It's been a repeated mantra I've always heard over and over and over again. Growth is not linear. Growth is not linear. Growth is not linear. Progress is not linear. You're going to hear it over and over and over again. And so I think it's really, 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 really important. If people keep saying it to you, if people keep saying it all around, it must be something important. So remember that growth is not linear. Boom. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bam. I know I started talking really fast. I guess I just got really, really passionate about the topic. Um, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to go to point number two, which is you'll have to make sacrifices at time. Growth is not easy. Growth is not easy at all. Those setbacks are very, 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 very hard. Those setbacks are very, very hard. And if you want to push yourself, you're going to have to give some things up in order to get there, right? My perfect example of that is let's say you're addicted to carrots, right? You have a really, really, really strong carrot addiction. You can't stop eating carrots. You wake up in the morning, carrot. Middle of the day, carrot. End of the night, carrot. 2 p.m., you're sneaking carrots in the middle of the work. You have a really, really important work presentation. In the middle of your presentation, you put yourself on mute and you turn your camera off. Why? Because I needed to eat a carrot in the corner. I needed my quick carrot break. Okay, you might be addicted to carrots, but you know that carrots are kind of ruining your life, and the ways in which you're eating them are not good. You cannot be eating carrots this much. Carrots aren't terrible, but the ways in which you're going about to eat your carrots is insane. So what you should be doing is finding ways to lower your carrot consumption. Stop letting carrots control you. But in order to do that, you have to make sacrifices. You have to make sacrifices. Okay, I can have a carrot then, but I can't have a carrot now. And it's going to be hard to stop yourself from doing certain things like that just because if you've trained your body to be accustomed to doing something for so long, it's so hard to train it to not be dependent on that thing anymore. You have to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to give some stuff up. Give some stuff up. Like, yeah, like there's no other way to put it. It's gonna be hard. Growth is a really, really hard process. And if it's easy, that means you should continue to challenge yourself. I don't think it should be hard to the point where you're like, I don't want to grow anymore. But I think it should be challenging to the point where if it begins to feel easy, it's like you're getting used to the growth, which is good because that's a sign that you have grown. And so now let's take it a step further. Let's continue to challenge ourselves. It's like I'm eating carrots every day to now it's like I only really need a carrot like 3 times a day. It's like, cool. I've gotten so used to it. Like now I only really need a carrot 3 times a day. Cool. Let me try and not eat carrots again. Right? Let me try that. That one's gonna be hard. Now I'm gonna have to go cold turkey on this thing that I really love. But if you really, really want to do it, you're capable. You just have to continue to put in the hard work, to put in the hours and the dedication. You're going to have those hard conversations and hard reflections with yourself. In order to grow, you have to lock in with you. Lock in with you and have some people to hold you accountable. I think it's really, really, really important to have people around you that are going to support you, which I'm kind of smooth, but this leads you into number three. Not everyone has a growth mindset, and you'll have to accept that throughout your period of growth. I've learned this lesson in life, which I found so interesting, and you will find it interesting as you're growing, but not everybody wants to grow. Some people are very okay with where they are, you know? And I get, to each their own. Whatever makes someone happy makes someone happy. But there are sometimes blatant situations where some people are stuck. And it might not even be a case of they don't want to grow. They might feel like they're incapable of growing, but like I said, in order like to make the sacrifices, you have to be willing to have those hard conversations with yourself, because everybody is capable of growing. Everybody is capable of independent growth. Like, external factors make it a lot harder for different circumstances. It's a very circumstantial thing, but everybody is capable of growing. You just have to want it as bad as anyone else, right? And so you might be in a situation where something's tough, but if you want it bad, you can get it. And I say that to say that, you're going to realize that some people don't want to grow, because it's really hard when you're on your growth journey and you're surrounding yourself with people who are not on the same path, right? And not everybody has to be on the same path, but some people will deter you from trying to get to where you want to be. Some people will be like, man, I don't even know why you trying not to eat carrots no more, bro. Like, ain't even nothing wrong with having carrots all that many times a day. I do it. You see me, I'm straight. And then you look at them, you're like, but I don't want to be like you. So now what's that say? That mean I gotta continue doing what I do, Some people are going to try and hold you back. Some people might also not believe in you. And I think one of the most important pieces in growing is learning that some of your people really just aren't your people, which sucks. Some people do not support you. They will challenge you at every minute, at every moment they can. And challenging is like one thing, right? It's like, oh yeah, but I bet you can't do this, I bet you can't do that, right? Some people that like challenge you to push you, but there are some people who just genuinely don't believe that you're capable of something and will continuously be a naysayer, right? Like, nah, you just can't. You're not able to. Like, you're not. It's not possible for you to do this thing and get to where you want to be. That's just not happening. That shit is not happening. And you have to remove those people from your life. You have to remove those people from your life, because you'll clearly see that that is not someone who wants to support you to get you to where you want to be. I ensure that the people who are in my life support me and push me and motivate me to get to where I want to be. I like surrounding myself with people who are also growing, who also want more from life, who want to be the best version of themselves that they can become. And that's not always an easy journey, right? It's not always an easy journey. And so it's like, when people are like, when I have friends that are stuck in their journey, it's like, yo, I want to help you. But there's not people in my life that are going to prohibit me from continue like moving up this mountain. Like, I think you should depend on people, but you also should be able to depend on yourself, in the sense of like, yo, I know where I want to be. You are not supporting me right now. It's cool. I don't need you. Thank you for your time. You can hit an exit stage left, right? Keep people around you that want to motivate you and push you to become the best version of yourself that you can become. Boom. Okay. And that being said, we move on to number 4. Okay. Number 4, you will be tested. Them tests, they be testing, bro. Them tests, they be testing, bro. And when I say them tests, they be testing, I mean those tests get harder and harder and harder as you continue to grow. You will be tested. I believe that in order for you to properly grow, you have to be willing to go through the trials and tribulations that growth entails. In order for you to get from point A to point Z, it you're gonna have those like setbacks, and those setbacks will come at times in which you least expect them. I'll say for me personally, I've been tested recently, right? And I had a moment of, well, do I want to become the version of myself that I tried so hard not to be anymore? Or do I want to continue to become this new and better version of myself? And in order for me to do that, I have to be willing to do the harder thing. And sometimes the harder thing is going to feel really, really hard to do, but the harder thing might also not feel as hard to do because you've been tested before and you failed previous tests. Sometimes if you fail a test, and you learn from that test, when you get to that next one, you'll know how to pass it because it's like, oh, I failed before, but now it's here in front of me again. I know what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't really mean that it's always going to feel like the easiest thing, because sometimes that, like, there's that small piece of you that wants to revert back to who you used to be, what you used to do. But now it's, I don't want to be that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be better. I want to embrace the change and the positivity that lives inside of my life. In order for me to do that, I have to pass the test. So life will continue to test you over and over and over and over again. But once you pass the test, you're going to feel so much better, which brings me to point number 5. You'll be really proud of yourself when you reflect. There is no finish line in growing, but that doesn't mean that there is no reflection in growth. I feel like it is really important for you to take moments of reflection while you're growing and acknowledge everything in which you have put yourself through to get to where you are. It takes a lot. It takes so much to grow. And so I think being able to like sit down and lock in and be like, man, I really did that. When you celebrate yourself, you make growth easier because you get to sit and think about where you came from to where you are now. Once you pass those tests, you sit and you're like, dang, bro, I remember like the old version of me that did X, Y, and Z, they would have never did what I just did. They would have never did what I just did. But I just did it and I'm so proud of me, right? I think you can celebrate yourself and push yourself to greatness by celebrating yourself. I will say for me, I'm not typically one to celebrate my accomplishments, right? Because it's like I sometimes I get so stuck in the mindset of like I want to be there and I'm not there yet, so I don't want to celebrate. Kind of like the Kobe mindset of like job not done yet, job not finished, job not done. And it's not really the best thing for me all the time, right? Because it's like I don't want to say it's a horrible way to live for most, but for me it's a horrible way to live. I think when I sit and I reflect and see how far I've come and all the things in which I've done and how proud I am of myself, it pushes me to want to continue going even harder, right? Like when I win an NBA championship, I'm like, man, I got this ring on. Dang, yeah, I'm celebrating. And because now I want another ring. Now I want a championship ring again. In order for me to do that, like I have to work hard. I have to work hard. And so you'll be really, really proud of yourself when you reflect. I think I would say that those are the 5 most important things that I've learned throughout my period of growth, growing as a young person in my 20s. Those are the 5 most important lessons that I've taken away so far. But I'm also only 24, right? I'm approaching my mid 20s to 25, but I'm only 24. So there's going to be more and more lessons to come, and I'll share more and more lessons as they come through. But yeah, all in all, keep pushing yourself to be the best version of yourself that can be. Surround yourself with people that love you and support you and care about you and want you to grow and succeed. And, it won't always be easy. You're going to get tested. Sometimes you might fall. Sometimes you might jump. Sometimes you might stay stuck for a little bit in the same place. And growth is not linear. Growth is not linear, but you keep that motivation, keep that will, you're going to get to wherever you want to be. And yeah, so now we're on to my new favorite segment, Ask Ken. I wanted to create a question column based type of thing where people can ask me questions and I answer them, because I feel like it's a really great way to connect with you all. Like, you're listening to me, I want to be able to listen to you. It's Talks with Ken, and if I'm just talking at you, it's not talking with you. In order for it to be Talks with Ken, I also got to talk with you. So I have created the Ask Ken. And if you want to submit any questions to Ask Ken, you can go to the link in my bio at Talks with Ken on Instagram, or you can also look in the show description on whatever platform you're listening on, or on YouTube, and click the link right there. I just pointed at something, but it's in the bottom, So yeah, go ahead and submit a question, whether if it's about, I don't know, whatever you're navigating in life, if it's work related, if it's relationship related, if it's independent related, if it's just like random and you need a little bit of advice, come through, ask me, and you can remain anonymous. I put a slot for you to say your name if you wanted your name to be read aloud, but I also put a slot, in the same slot it says optional, right? So if you want to remain anonymous, you can remain anonymous. But I would be so happy if you came in and left me a little thing so we can chat. And I really enjoy giving advice to people. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get into Ask Ken. Yeah. I'm just asking. I don't know. You guys tell me. Do you guys prefer just asking or Ask Ken? We'll find out. So our first one is from Cami V. Cami asks, if a friend asks you for your honest opinion on something, but what you say might be hurtful, would you still say it, or would you say a white lie? I honestly think this one depends on the circumstance. For the most part, I'm going to tell them the truth, right? Especially because if what I say might be hurtful, then they probably need to hear it from me, right? Especially if they're asking me for my opinion on something. Hey, I just want to know blah, 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 blah. Sometimes the truth hurts, and I would be a fake friend if I did not tell you the truth in this situation. I would always want my friends to be honest with me. Now, if it's something small, like, yo, they just really need a confidence booster here of like yo, do these jeans look good on me, man? I don't know, right? If they really, really like the jeans, like they keep wearing these jeans over and over and over again, and you don't think these jeans really look good, but you see they trying their hardest to make it work, you could be like, I don't think the jeans look terrible, right? Or like, yeah, the jeans look good, I guess. It just, nah, because even then you're going to have your friend walking around in some like chopped jeans. But also, it's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. They might just have their own unique fashion taste, So I would say, honestly, just tell them. They might need it. If it hurts them, they probably need the hurt. And they're coming to you for your honest opinion. And as a friend, I would be doing you a disservice if you came to me and I was not honest with you. So if your friend come to you and ask, yo, do I got a big head? You just got to be honest with them and be like, you got a gargantuan forehead, my friend. And that's just it. Number 2, Mariano asks, how do I get out of bed at a reasonable time instead of waking up and laying there for 2 hours every morning before I'm ready? ... Also, who would win in a fight, with me or those 2 fuck-ass possums from Ice Age? I just don't know which one is more important to answer first. And so I'll go with the second half, and I would say the possums would win. I think you're really, really close, bud. I think you're right there. You're just right there. However, you're just a little bit out of reach. It's 2 crazy prehistoric possums and like my favorite Wexican, right? And so who's gonna win? I gotta give it to the possums. They got a little bit more crazy than you do. I think if you lock in a little bit harder, then you might be able to take down one of them. But to take it down both is they got too much energy. For the first part of the question now, how do I get out of bed at a reasonable time instead of waking up and laying there for 2 hours every morning before I'm ready? I am also struggling with the same thing. Not this one. Yeah, this one. This pillow right here keeps my head on it for an extra who knows how long in the morning. And the problem is, I know the solution. I just don't implement the solution. I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is I'm like on my phone and I'm just like scrolling, right? I have my little morning phone time and I'm scrolling on TikTok, then I'm watching reels, then I'm watching YouTube videos, then I'm checking all my messages and everything, and it ends up taking me forever. And because my phone charges in my bed, it's right here and easily accessible for me to use right fresh off the wake up. What I need to do is to remove it. What I used to do is I had my phone charge across the room and I had the alarm set in the morning so that I would have to get up out physically of my bed and turn the alarm off. And it's still charging, so it's ready to go in the morning. And then I would have to make that decision of, do I crawl back into bed with this phone in my hand now, or do I not? And I want to opt for not. And so what I think you should be doing, Mariano, is if it's something in a similar sense where you're getting up, but you're kind of in this weird thing of I'm scrolling on my phone, then remove your phone or make it harder for you to access your phone in the morning, right? I used to use this thing as well, called Opal, I believe it was, where it shut down my apps because let's be honest, that screen time thing is not stopping nothing. Like, it's so easy for me to just hit ignore limit and then for the rest of the day. That's so easy to do. Using something like an Opal, or I also saw this another one that was like Brick, I think. Using certain things that makes it harder for you to access these things in the time in which you're trying to get to them will continue to push you into a place of, yeah, bro, I'm trying to not do that. I'm trying to get up out of bed. Make your morning routine different than what it is, because what your morning routine is right now is keeping you stuck in your bed. So, I'm also on the same journey, and in order to get up out of that cycle, you just gotta push. You gotta push really hard to get away from it. And, it takes, I don't know how long it is to break a habit, but it takes, I think it's like a few weeks to break a habit. So you have to be really dedicated to not wanting to lay in your bed for an extra few hours in the morning. Although it is really, really comfortable, it's just something you've got to change. It's something you got to change if that's what you want to change. And that is all of our Ask Question submissions for today. If you have any questions, any life concerns, any updates, anything you want to share, please feel free. Please, please, please. I am encouraging you to comment in the Ask Ken submission page and leave a little something. My email is also talkswithken@gmail.com. So if you want to send something a little bit more in depth that you don't really want to submit through the form, feel free to shoot me an email. I don't really check my Instagram DMs on the Talks with Ken page, so if you send something there, I won't see it. But I do encourage you to use the form. That way it's like easier to keep track of, and I can make sure that I got to everybody's questions. But yeah, thank you so much for tapping in with Ask Ken. And now that also concludes the podcast episode. I don't know why I did it like that. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Talks with Ken. I hope to see you all back on the next one, answering more questions for you all and having a wonderful conversation with you all once more. I am Ken, and I am done talking. Peace.